Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Hare Krishna. I'm Rajarsi Dasa. Welcome to Hare Krishna today. On today's program, we're continuing the series Evaluation Test. Yes, we said in the Hare Krishna movement, serious students who are preparing for initiation, that means they're chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra and they're following the regulative principles, giving up meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. Before they can formally take initiation, there is some evaluation test to make sure that the person has sufficient understanding of the goal of life and the required knowledge. So in the previous program, we discussed, the question was, of course the topic we are studying is material nature. So the first point we covered described in a general way the three modes of material nature. So we said that you will find in the 14th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita from text 5. Krishna described how all souls take birth in this world and how they conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Now, let's take a look at the second question, an apparently complicated one. Does the living entity have free will or not? That's not all. Wait for the rest. Does the living entity have free will or not? Or does he have free will while depending on superior powers? And if so, explain how free will and an inevitable destiny, an obligation to perform certain acts which escape our control, can exist simultaneously. Yes, sounds complicated, right? Well, I'll try to explain this for our students preparing for examination in a simple way. Try to explain these points. The first idea is that does the living entity have free will or not? So if you say yes, the living entity have free will, fine. It is true. Living entities have free will. Why are you looking at this show now? You have choice. You could be doing anything. You could make choice. You could do this, you could do that. You could do so many things. That's because you have free will. But wait a minute. Is that absolute free will? The other point about or not, that we don't have free will. Suppose you answer, no, we don't have free will. Is that absolutely correct? No. So this has to be qualified. Both points must be qualified. Yes, we have free will, but it is not absolute free will. Just like we may be choosing different things now. Use our desire or whatever, our knowledge, our understanding. We choose now. We may choose our job. We may choose our friends. We may choose this, that, to do this, to do that. But there are things in life from the beginning. Who chose your appearance? Who chose your appearance? How do you look? Your beauty, your ugliness, your intellectual capacity. who chose all these things? Who gave you the particular body you have? Why you have this type of body you have and not another type of body? So, the point is, do we have free will, or we have free will, but simultaneously we controlled? That sounds more like it, right? Yes. There are millions of devatas that control the cosmic manifestation. Recently someone asked me, he said, but why does your religion teach that there are millions of gods? If there is a God and he is supreme and he is all powerful, then what need is there for ministers? So of course the person was Christian. So I said, if you want to pursue that line that God is absolute and you think that he shouldn't have many gods or many ministers or many persons in control, yeah, he's supreme, he should be able to do everything. Well, how about answering this question? You say that God is that supreme, right? Well, he's supreme and he's absolute. Well, what need is there for a son, Jesus Christ, or what need is there for him to come and die on a cross for you and so on? What need is there? If he's supreme and he's absolute, then what need is there for a Satan? And why is Satan foiling God's plan? So if you want to pursue that type of argument, then you can get a lot of counter arguments like that. Of course, that's not our business to argue and counter argue. But the point is this: if God so chooses to have his administration of the universe and have millions of gods, who can stop him? He says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that aham sarvasya prabhavo, I am the source of everything material and spiritual, everything emanates from me. If he desires to have a spiritual world, and then the material world, and then the spirit souls, these three basic energies, the spiritual antaranga shakti, then the material energy bahir anga shakti, and then the spirit souls are marginal tatashta shakti. God says that in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the song of God. It's not someone's imagination and speculation. If God wants to have son, not just son, sons. God doesn't have one son. Who make the other sons? Devils? No. Krishna says in the Gita, Pita Ahamasya Jagatu, I am the father of the entire universe. He's the father of everyone. So, the point we are discussing here is that the Lord has a superior control. Yes, millions of devatas, and they are controlling. For example, we have eyes. What is the value of our eyes if there is no light? We have nostrils, we have ears, but what is the value of these instruments without the air? So, we are not independent, rather we interdependent. So a person who is studying this philosophy of Krishna consciousness cannot just close his mind and in ignorance, I think, I feel, I believe, I feel it should be like this, I think it should be like that. No. It exists. And what exists, why I exist, how I fit in this picture, we need to hear from God. And that's why we're dealing with Bhagavad Gita about bondage. God is speaking about the three modes. Bondage. You could question, well, why have to be bound? Well, continue hearing Bhagavad Gita and you'll understand why you're bound. But if we remain in ignorance, we just go pointing finger. We say there is no God, or God is the cause of all the trouble. But that doesn't eliminate our problems. We continue to suffer in ignorance. So we might as well do as Krishna said in the Gita, Tatrino. Just hear from me. So while education is supposed to begin from the age of 4 and 5 years old, some of us, we are late starters. Srila Prabhupada would say, better late than never. So, you might be thinking, yeah, these things sound like very complicated questions and complicated subject matters. Well, think about it. Can you adopt a rabbit philosophy and ostrich philosophy? Just close your eyes and don't think about anything and don't educate yourself about anything and everything will be all right? You think so? No. Srila Prabhupada said, our very existence is threatened by non-existence. You just sit one place and you'll be undone by the time factor. In some years, you will be non-existent here, at least on the physical plane. So the idea is that we have to hear about our existence and why we're here. Who am I? Where have I come from? Why I'm here? Who is in control? And then we can bring about a solution. So here it is said that there is a superior power. There is. We have free will, fine. But there is a simultaneous destiny. We are destined to have a particular type of body, to enjoy a certain amount, to suffer a certain amount. There is some destiny. But simultaneously, we have free will. The example is given. In fact, you can find this example in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the purports. There it is explained, a modern example is given about the free will factor and the destiny factor. The example is given. You buy a ticket and you get on board a flight. Now the flight is on its way to its destination. Now once you on board that flight, that's like destiny. You can't change that. That's going to happen, that's going on. That's the destiny. However, while on board that flight, you still have free will. You could choose. You could decide to just sit quiet and read a book or take a drink. Or you could drink plenty and get drunk and punch somebody in the face and be awaiting arrest when this flight lands. Or you could choose, you strike up a deal with a businessman and then you get into a prosperous business later on. So that's the free will. While you cannot change, while there is destiny, you are on board that flight, certain things you cannot change. But you still have the free will, and that free will, by proper use of free will, then you can change the future. So the science of Krishna consciousness means to understand how we are situated here and then what we should do now to be extricated or liberated from the present state, the present predicament that we are in. So, in conclusion, in answering this question, yes, we do have free will, and The part about no, we don't have free will, that has to be qualified. That yes, we are controlled. Certain things in our life, we are destined to this, we are destined to that, and it will be like that. This is the law of karma. But out of the 5 factors taught in the Bhagavad Gita, 1 is not eternal. God is eternal, Bhagavan or Ishvara. Jiva, the souls, are eternal. Prakriti, the material nature, may be changing, but its function is eternal. Kala or time is eternal, but karma is not. Our karma can be changed. And that's how Krishna is saying in the Gita, surrender unto me and I'll free you from all sinful reactions. Mashutaha, don't worry, don't fear. So an enlightened soul knows the secret of existence, how to function constitutionally so that every action doesn't produce a binding reaction. So, not deviating from the point, we have free will, but at the same time, simultaneously, we control. The modes are pushing us around. We can't say, I am independent, and you're smoking something, you're drinking something, you're a slave of your senses. So, we shouldn't think that while we're being controlled, that I am independent, I can do what I want. We should know that we are still being pushed around by the 3 modes of material nature, and to transcend the pushing or the influence of the 3 modes, we have to put ourselves under the divine nature. Yes, great news. The Lord has a divine energy. So instead of being pushed around and controlled by this material energy, we can put ourselves under the divine energy. So later on, this we'll be discussing in some more detail. But let us look at the next question. What is action? What is proper and forbidden action? And what is inaction? So to find the answer to this question, we go to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 17. Yes. In text 17 of the Bhagavad Gita, there you will find Krishna saying, Karmano hi api bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmanogati. That the intricacies of action are very hard to understand, very difficult to understand. To understand action in this world, it's a complicated subject matter. So Krishna is saying, therefore a person should understand what is karma or action. What is vikarma or forbidden action? So you're understanding what is karma, action, but what is vikarma, forbidden action. And then Krishna says, and you understand what is inaction. Yes. So on the practical level in the Bhagavad Gita, we know that there is good and bad. We understand good and bad. So Arjuna said that, well, every action will produce a reaction. So you know what? Don't act. He was a warrior and he was supposed to fight. So he concluded that this fighting, this will bring trouble. So, no action, no reaction. But Krishna won't go for that. No. Krishna said, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati karma krit. No one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Even unwillingly, you will have to act, and every action will produce a reaction. So you might be thinking, you won't act, you won't do anything. But there are 5 types of imperceivable sinful activity. You just walk, and there are germs, there are living beings, living entities everywhere. And just by walking, you're killing living entities. You got some itch you're scratching, and you're killing germs. You're hungry, and you go to light a fire, you're killing living entities also. Yes. So, in so many places, we're acting and we're getting a reaction. So Krishna is saying that this is a very complex subject matter. So you should understand what action is. The Vedic scriptures describe the soul's condition in this world, and there are different positions, different occupational duties. So a person who follows the scriptures and perform prescribed duties, that's good. But Krishna is warning. Remember, good and bad is duality of this world. You may say, well, bad is undesirable, but good is desirable. Bad action brings bad reaction. Good action brings good reaction. So you want to just be good? But you're getting a reaction. That means you have to come back in this world to get a good body and enjoy good results again. Is that what you want? No. At least that's not what Lord Krishna is advocating or prescribing in the Bhagavad Gita. So what is Krishna prescribing then? He's saying that we have to understand what is inaction. Arjuna taught, no action, no reaction. That's inaction, don't act. But Krishna says, no. There's a better solution than that. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction, he's learned among men and he can attain perfection. So what is that? That sounds like word jugglery. Huh? Seeing inaction in action? What do you mean by that? Well, this is the example. Krishna is telling Arjuna, he's not just saying fight or don't fight. Arjuna had said in the Bhagavad Gita that if I fight, then this will be distress. I will be killing out so many people. Krishna said, you have to fight. He said, but I won't be happy even if I win an unrivaled kingdom with sovereignty like the gods in the heavens. I won't be happy. So what does that mean? On the material platform, you won't be happy. Arjuna wants transcendental knowledge, spiritual knowledge. That's why the Gita was spoken. Not just fight or not fight. Arjuna, when he was confused in the 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 7, he says, Karpang yado shapatah swabhava prichhami twang dharma samudhachita yashreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadhi mang tvam prapanam. Arjuna said, I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. He said, I cannot function. this weakness, this miserly weakness, I cannot function. So then he said, Shishyasteham, now I'm a disciple, I'm a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So he said, Shishya, I'm a disciple. What he wants? He said, Yashreyasyan. I want to know the ultimate truth. Yes. I want to know the ultimate. Prayers mean the immediate thing. I want bread, I want this, I want that. So you could get bread and live in ignorance and not know who you are, where you came from, and what's going on here. Arjuna don't want to remain in ignorance. He wants knowledge of his identity, knowledge of his constitutional position, knowledge of how he has to function. That's what Arjuna wants. So this inaction we are speaking about, Krishna told Arjuna, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanu smara yudhyacha. Perform your prescribed duty of fighting with your mind fixed on me and the results surrendered on to me. He tells Arjuna, whatever you do, mud arpan, you do it as an offering unto me. And when you do like that, Shubha Shubha Palaideva Mokshasi Karma Bandhana. In this way you'll become free from all bondage. Shubh and Ashubh karma, pious work, impious work, you'll become free from the reactions of all of this. He says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. When you surrender unto me, aham twang sarva pap. I'll free you from all sin. Ma shuchaha. Don't worry. Have no fear. So that is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. That is the secret of the Bhagavad Gita. That you perform your action in knowledge of your constitutional position. Otherwise, every action is going to cause a reaction and you're going to be putting your foot in your mouth. Everything you do, you're going to be putting a noose around your neck. You're sentencing yourself to reaction to come back in this world and suffer again. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita wants us to be enlightened about perfection. I'm Rajarsi Das saying Hare Krishna, and do join us again next week for a continuing presentation.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.